Okay, on to the black cards. We're actually making good time with this. So, because we'll finish all of the black, and then I will take a pause. I will run to the bathroom, and then when I get back, we have red, green, and multicolored artifact and lands, and then we'll be done. Right. Auntie's Sentence is a 2-mana sorcery. Choose one. Target opponent reveals a hand. You make them discard a non-land permanent. Sure. Or target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. Sorcery speed. This isn't very good. Yeah, this is not great. I mean, I guess maybe you hit something in their hand that really ruins their plan, but, like, I don't... I don't really care about this at all. It's bad removal and then, like, hand attack, and I don't really care about hand attack in Limited, because Rob might not get anything. Like, maybe you hit their bomb. Maybe they have, like, the white fucking dragon we saw all the way at the start that gives everything convoke and persist and all that. Like, maybe you do. Maybe you get rid of their planeswalker. But, like, how are you supposed to know what they've got, right? Sometimes I'll ask my opponents in draft, like, how did their picks go? But, like, generally people won't just be like, oh yeah, I have a planeswalker. Generally they'll be like, yeah, good or bad. And sometimes I'll, like, tell them what I got or something. But, like, Barbed Bloodletter. Okay. 2-mana flash. And when it enters, attach it to target creature you control, and that creature gains Wither. Okay, deals damage to creatures in the form of -1/-1 counters. And a crypt creature gets +1/+2. I actually don't hate this, but mostly because I like -1/-1 counters, right? Again, I have an aversion to equipment, so I would not pick this, but if I had to put something into a -1/-1 counter deck, and this was the only thing that did -1/-1 counter stuff, I would put it in. But yeah, I don't think this is, like, crazy good. I think it's just kind of fine. Maybe. I don't like it, so probably... I don't want to say it's bad, because then it'll actually turn out to be incredible, and I'll just sound like an idiot, but I wouldn't pick it. Vile Boggart. A 1-mana, 1/1. When this creature dies, put a -1/-1 counter on up to one target creature. This is great. This is a 1/1 that just, like, fucks your opponent up a little bit whenever it dies. I'd take a bunch of these. Bitterbloom Bearer is a 2-mana 1/1 flash flyer. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose a life. So this is Bitterbloom. Bitter Blossom, even. Is it Bitter Blossom is the enchantment? What's the enchantment that makes a 1/1 fucking fairy every turn? I think it's Bitter Blossom. So this is Bitter Blossom stapled to a creature. That's going to be good, right? Bitter Blossom's already good. Is it Bitter Blossom? I think it's Bitter Blossom is the name of the enchantment that does the exact same effect for the exact same price, right? Oh, it's not the exact same price. It is 1 black and 1 generic for an a tribal fairy enchantment at the beginning of your upkeep. Lose 1 life and make a 1/1 flyer. Yeah. So this costs double black to do the same thing, but it's stapled to a 1/1 with flash. This card's great. It has to be. In Limited, it's a 1/1 flyer that makes more 1/1 flyer. Your opponent has to kill those. Right? Like, yeah, this is just a really good card. It's Bitter Blossom stapled to a guy. Like, of course it's good. Of course it's going to be great. Blight Rot. 3 mana, put 4 -1/-1 counters on target creature. Sure. It is technically removal. Would I prefer just a destroy spell? Almost certainly. But I'll take it because it's -1/-1 counter synergy, and I like -1/-1 counters. Blighted Blackthorn is a 5-mana 3/7. Whenever this creature enters or attacks, you may blight 2. If you do, draw a card and lose a life. Sure. I hate that. It's a bit expensive. 5 mana for a 3/7 that you probably blight itself, so it's actually a 1/5, is very expensive. Yeah, actually, this might suck ass. Let's draw a card, though. And you can draw a card every time it attacks. But no, this is probably not very good. Nah, I don't think it's very... I mean, I might still run it just because it's card draw, but I don't think this is great. Bloodline Bidding. 8 mana? Like, but it has Convoke. So you're probably playing this for like 5 or 6. Choose a creature type. Return all creature cards from the chosen type from your graveyard to the battlefield. Again, this is really good for just like a tribal deck. How good this is in limited will depend how tribal your deck is, right? So if you're playing like green-black elves and you have, 17 creatures and 17 of those creatures are elves and, half of them, so like 8 are in the graveyard and you play this card, you probably just win the game. But that's all magical Christmas land, right? That's all magical fairy lights and rainbows and candy and all that. Like, that's just not going to happen. I still think this is probably a good card. I just think it's going to be way better in like standard and commander and all the rest of it, where you can have like tribal decks with a lot of the same creature type, and you have ways to put them into the graveyard that benefit you and stuff like that. In a limited deck, you've only got 40 cards. Half of that is lands. Half-ish. Not half, but half-ish is lands. Like, this is probably going to be at most hitting like 4 or 5 creatures, which is still really good, but depends what those creatures are. I'd probably pick this, but I wouldn't be particularly excited by it. Right, like, compared to, like, Bitter Bloom, I'd probably just be kind of like, yeah, sure, whatever, I'll return all of my fairies or whatever else I'm playing in black to the battlefield, sure. Boggart Mischief is a 3-mana enchantment. When it enters, you may blight 1. If you do, create 2 1/1 black and red goblin creature token. Sure. Whenever a goblin creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Oh. Are we doing Goblin Aristocrats? I'd play that. Goblin -1/-1 counter. Whatever it's called. Is that what the sacrifice stuff? I think it's Aristocrats, isn't it? Because the original card that started it is Vampire Aristocrat, which was sacrifice a creature to give itself protection from colors or whatever. I can't remember what the fucking card is. But yeah, a bunch of sack stuff. Sure. Again, this is good if you put it on, like, again, you put it on the Balefire Boggart, he gets a -1/-1 counter, he dies, he puts a -1/-1 counter on one of your opponent's things, you create 2 more tokens, and your opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. I do like some of these Goblin cards. Goblin Prankster, 2 mana, 1/3, whenever you attack, target attacking goblin you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn. This doesn't have to attack, it's just whenever you attack. I don't mind this. This is kind of fine. Just because it doesn't have to attack by itself, I think it's slightly better than some of the other, like, 1/3 things we've seen that generally needed to do things themselves. I don't think this is great. I think it's just fine. Like, this is another sort of generic pack fillery, or whatever, it'll go into my deck because I'm playing goblins thing, right? Bog Slither's Embrace. 2 mana, as an additional cost to cast a spell, blight 1 or pay 5. Exile target creature. I mean, 2 mana, exile target creature, all you have to do is put a -1/-1 counters on one of your creatures is really good, even at sorcery speed. That is really good. And again, I'm looking at this Vile Boggart as like a serious enabler for this deck, right? Like if you play this on turn 1, your opponent has to really worry about what you're going to do turn 2 or 3. Because like exile a creature for 2, kill my own guy, put a -1/-1 counter on another one of your creatures is so good, right? Like, I know you lose a creature out of it, but, like, it's fine. Yeah, I feel like this has to be good, right? It's a 2-mana exile spell. 5-mana exile is still good and limited, and it's the weaker option. Yeah. I don't know. I don't like paying 5 to exile something in limited. It still feels bad. But, yes, 5 mana to exile something is still fine. Sorcery speed also makes it suck a little bit, but what are you going to do? But yeah, even at sorcery speed, 2 mana exile something is bonkers. That is a very good card. Champion of the Weird. Okay, so this is the Goblin champion, right? 4 mana, 5/5. As an additional cost to cast a spell, Behold, short, pay 1 life, blight 2. Target opponent blights 2. When this creature leaves the battlefield, return the exile. Okay. So this is a blight engine. Interesting. I guess if you have got a bunch of goblins that you just don't really care about, or if you're making a fucking fairy every turn, you can just blight your own things, kill them, you don't care, your opponent loses life, and then they have to blight? I mean, the only issue is because they get to pick where the blights go, they're probably, like, if they can make tokens, then even if you're making, like, say you're making goblin tokens and you're just like, yeah, I'll just kill off my 1/1 goblin token with the blight too. Now you have to do the same. And if they're playing, like, Kithkin or Merfolk, they could just be like, okay, I'll just kill off my own token, right? Like, everything's made tokens so far. Makes it slightly worse, especially because you're paying 1 life for it. But again, you're in control, so if they have like only 1 creature on the field, you can just use this to fuck that creature up a lot. Doesn't cost any mana as well, so you can do it as many times as you have life or creatures to blight. This is probably good. It's also just a 4 mana 5/5, right? This is good. This has to be, right? It's just, I'm just kind of like unsure as to how good it is, but I think this is definitely a card that I'd be like, yeah, sure, I'll take this. Again, I like -1/-1 counter synergy, but I think this guy is good. Creekwood Safe Right. A 2 mana 5/5 enters with 3, so it's a 2 mana 2/2. Beginning of your end step, if there is an elf card in your graveyard and this creature has a -1/-1 counter on it, remove a -1/-1. Okay, so it comes in as a 2 mana 2/2, but it becomes a 3/3 at the end of your turn. Fine. If you have an elf in your graveyard, this is fine. Again, not the most exciting -1/-1 creature. It does eventually become a 5/5, which is cool. But it doesn't remove the -1/-1 counters for benefit. It just removes them to be bigger. Which is fine. But I prefer doing it for like a benefit. Okay. I think this is probably just good enough because, like I said, it becomes... As long as you have an elf in your graveyard, it comes in as a 2/2, then immediately becomes a 3/3 because you end your turn. Which is probably fine on turn 2 or turn 3. And then turn 4 it's a 4/4, turn 5 it's a 5/5. At the end of the turn, obviously, but like, sure. Darkness Descends. Put 2 -1/-1 counters on each creature. Now this is like there's usually like a 3 or 4 mana, give all creatures -2/-2 until end of turn in black. There has been in some of the more recent sets, at least. And I always hate them. I'm always like, yeah, whatever. We'll kill some tokens. Doesn't matter. But this keeps the -2, -1, -1s around. So this is way better. Unless your opponent is also playing a Blight deck, and then you're probably just helping them. But, you know, that's kind of one of the downsides. And if I was playing -1, -1 counters, I would absolutely take this card. Dawnhand Dissident is a 1-mana 1/2 Blight 1, Surveil 1. Sure. Blight 2, exile target card from a graveyard. Sure. During your turn, you may cast creature spells from among cards you own exiled with this creature by removing 3 counters from among creatures you control in addition to paying their other cost. So this is a lot of setup. But it is good, I think. I think it might be too much setup, right? Like, you play this guy, he can't do anything the turn he comes in, because his first abilities require you to tap. Then the next turn, you tap him to exile a target card from your graveyard, and put 2 counters on something. Then you can play the card you just exiled, as long as you can pay its mana cost, and there's an extra counter on a creature somewhere. It's a lot of setup. But it's probably good. I don't know how good it is in limited. I mean, it's a 1-mana 1/2. It's not like it costs very much to get it going, right? Probably fine. Just because it's a 1-mana 1/2, you can just kind of have it on the field and it's always a danger, right? And your opponent has to do something about it. Or you can just reanimate the best creature they kill whenever you want with just Blight counters. And you can make your creatures that have already got -1, -1 counters on them bigger by just removing them with this guy. This is probably good. I was like looking at it and I was like, man, it takes like 3 turns to get anything out of this, but like... As long as you've already got some creatures on the field that have -1, -1 counters on. Probably fine. And like, specifically in a -1, in like a Blight deck, this is probably good. I think you can't, it's not just generically powerful enough to go in anything else. I think you have to be already blighting stuff. But, yeah, sure. Dawnhand Eulogist? Sure. 4-mana 3/3 with Menace. When it enters, mill 3 cards. If there is an elf card in your graveyard, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2. Very generic, you know, drain guy. Sure, I mean, it's a 4-mana 3/3, which isn't horrendous. It's not great, but... got Menace as well, so it probably actually gets to deal some damage. And it drains your opponent. Puts cards into your graveyard so that you can maybe get them back, because black probably has ways to reanimate. Yeah, sure. Dose of Dawnglow. 5 mana, return... Speaking of reanimate, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. If it isn't your main phase, Blight 2. Yeah, speaking of reanimate, Exhibit A. So, yeah. Here's your reanimate spell for the set. It costs 5. And if you do it on somebody else's turn, you have to blight a creature. Not necessarily the creature you reanimate, just a creature. This is standard. Right, like, while Zombify exists, this won't see play, but in Limited, this might see a little bit of play. So with this, you really have to be targeting something that costs more than 5 mana. I don't think we've seen a black card that costs more than 5 mana yet. That wasn't also reanimate. No, we haven't. So if there's like... Yeah, I mean, again, you can splash another color, so maybe you can reanimate. Maybe there's some huge green cards Or there's that blue elemental. Maybe you reanimate that. And Cyclonic Rift all non-elementals back. But like, yeah, this card's been printed so many times, it's just like, hey, reanimate something for 5. This is generally how much reanimate should cost. Dream Caesar. A 4-mana 3/2 flyer. When this creature enters, you may blight 1. If you do, each opponent discards a card. Yeah, these are the sort of cards I like. Give me a benefit for putting the -1/-1 counters on things, and then also give me benefits for removing the counters, but make me generally pay for them down the line. This I like. It's also a flyer, so you probably just take this in limited because it's a flyer, so it'll just kill your opponent eventually, alright? Like, assuming they don't have a flyer as well. So, sure. Gloom Ripper. A 5-mana 4/4. When this creature enters, target creature you control gets +X/+O until the end of turn, and up to 1 target creature an opponent controls gets -O/-X until the end of turn, where X is the number of elves you control plus the number of elves in your grid. So this is a pump and removal spell if you have enough elves. Sure. A good card, especially in limited, right? Like, if this goes off in limited, you go, hey, this creature I'm going to swing at you with is like a 5/1 or whatever. This 1/1 elf token is a 5/1, and I'll kill your big blocking guy. Right? And I also get a 4/4. This is good. This is certainly a good card. But, I mean, you probably don't need me to tell you that. That's pretty simple. This is a good limited card. Gnarlbark Elm. A 3-mana 3/4, but it enters with 2, so it's actually a 3-mana 1/2. But you can remove 2 counters. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. Only as sorcery. It's fine. If you can keep re-blighting it, it's a good way to ping off smaller creatures. It doesn't tap it to remove the counters, so you can, like, remove the counters, kill a small blocker, attack with this. If they don't have anything big enough to kill this, it just eats something else, probably. So, yeah, this is a good limited card. Another, like, Black's got some decent limited cards, right? Like, this is good, this is good. Alright, anyway, I could go all the way back, but we're not going to do that. It'd take ages. I'm going to go forward. Grave Shifter, a 4-mana 2/2 changeling. When this creature enters, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Sure. Not great, not terrible. This is like there was a grave, was it Grave Digger? Grave Robber? There was a zombie that did the same thing, right? Almost exactly the same card. It was a 4-mana 2/2 that returned a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. It was a zombie. I don't remember what set this is in, but I think there's a card that's almost exactly the same, but it's a zombie. Oh, this has gone the wrong way around again. Okay, Grub Storied Matriarch is a 3-mana 2/1 with Menace. Whenever she enters or transforms, return 1 target goblin card from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, reanimation, we like that. Grub Notorious Auntie. So you can, next turn, you can flip her into this. She's a 2/1 with Menace. Whenever she attacks, you may blight 1. If you do, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of the blighted creature, except it has, at the beginning of the end step, sacrifice this token. Ugh. I mean, if your opponent can't kill Grub, this is kind of like, you can kind of loop this, right? So you play Grub, right? You bring, where's the fucking vial thing? You bring the vial boggart back to your hand. Then, the following turn, you flip her into Grub. play the Boggart for 1, you swing with Grub, blight the Boggart dies, puts a -1/-1 counter on one of your opponent's creatures, you get a token of the Boggart again. When that dies, you put another -1/-1 counter on something. Then the following turn, you use a black to transform her back into Grub, and you return the Vial card back to your hand. And just play it again. Next turn, do it again. Switch to Grub, attack with her, blight the Vial guy, he dies, -1/-1 counter. Make a token. If that dies, -1/-1 counter. Transformer again, get it back. And I'm probably thinking small, right? I'm probably thinking, like, just a really shitty cycle. Like, there's probably way better things you can do with this. That's just the first thing that came to mind. Although if they can ever just block Grub, or this just stops, or kill Grub, that just stops completely. But, like, even just one activation, that's fine, right? Because, like, you had that enchantment that wanted to sacrifice stuff and other things that want to blight thing. I mean, it does just let you cycle that Vial Smasher into, like, an endless blight target. I think she's good. I'd take it just because, again, I love -1/-1 counter synergy, and she does blight stuff, and I could definitely mess with it. But, yeah, I think she's good as well. I think she's... Again, she's a 3-mana 2/1, which I don't like, but she does have Menace. So as long as you can keep the board relatively trimmed by putting -1/-1 counters everywhere or just killing things, she can probably get an attack in or two. And then you can just keep making copies of things, which is good. Gut Splitter Gang, a 4-mana 6/6. At the beginning of your first main phase, you may blight 2 if you don't lose 3. Oh, this is good. Like, if you want repeated blight triggers, this just gives them to you every turn. And as long as you've got ways... So, like, say you play this. It's a 6/6, and then your opponent, like, can't really attack into it. Beginning of your next turn, you put 2 counters onto the Elm Bark, and then you just pay 3 to remove them. You still have... Yeah, I think this can be good. Again, as long as you're constantly doing stuff with the... If your opponent plays something that's so big that you can't do anything about and you have to start using cards from your hand, then it's going to be a problem. But as long as you can, like, control the field with having a 6/6 and then being able to, like, slowly use the -1/-1 counters to, like, pick off stuff or do whatever. And again, like, losing 3 life, you'd have to go 2 turns without blighting something before this became an issue, right? And before it deals as much damage to you as it's hopefully going to be dealing to your opponent. I think this is a good card. I think I like this card. Again, I like -1/-1 counter synergy, but I think I like this card. Heirloom Ante. 3-mana 4/4 enters as a 3-mana 2/2. Whenever another creature you control dies, surveil 1, remove a -1/-1 counter. I would prefer draw 1, but this is kind of okay. I think this is just kind of very generic. Like, pack fillery, -1/-1 synergy. Maybe it's better than I'm giving it credit for, but kind of seems just okay. I guess it depends how much you can, like, kill your own creatures off. Again, I still think that Vile Boggart thing is such an enabler for this deck, right? It's if you can keep reanimating it with, like, other things, with, like, Grub, you could just kind of endlessly have a 1/1 that does... it just converts all the blight triggers on itself into -1/-1 counters on your opponent, which is great. I don't know. This is fine. Iron Shield Elf. A 2-mana 3/1, discard a card, this creature gains indestructible, and tap it. Sure, I've seen this before in a bunch of 2-mana 3/1s. It's generally good. It allows you to be aggressive or defensive. Either way, it's just a good card, as long as you have cards in hand to discard to it. Generally, it's usually more in aggressive decks because you swing with it and then it just keeps doing damage and you essentially Just try and kill your opponent before you run out of cards in hand. Moon Glove Extractor. 3 mana, 2/1. When this creature attacks, you draw a card and lose 1 life. Fine. Not incredible. It probably just dies on the swing. It doesn't have any defensive stuff. So it probably just dies on the swing and you draw a card and lose a life, which is okay, I guess. Moon Shadow. A 1 mana 7/7. Right? With Menace. Enters with 6 -1/-1. So this is the big -1/-1 thing, right? In black. Okay. So it's a 1 mana 1/1 with Menace. When 1 or more permanent cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere while this creature has -1/-1 counters on it, remove a -1/-1 counter from this. Okay. I will say, remember the Rias guy that had 1 white mana suck all the counters off of something? Imagine you play this turn 1. Turn 2 you play Rias. Turn 3 you suck all the counters off of this for 1 mana. And it's a 7/7 Menace on turn 3. Your opponent's going to be so sad. But that does mean you need to get a mythic rare and then the rare as well in Reyes. And then you need to build a white-black deck around them. But also, that's fucking hilarious. I like this card. I was always going to like this card. It's a -1/-1 counter synergy card. But, yeah. This has got to be good, right? If you're sacking a bunch of things or just anything. Like, this is something your opponent has to be terrified of from the moment you play it. Because eventually it's going to be a 7/7 with Menace. Which is the biggest thing we've seen so far by a long way. And it's also a great Blight target, because you can put Blight on it and then just sack your own creatures and keep taking stuff off. Yeah, this has to be a good card in Limited. It's just big. And bigness is good. Moonsong Aria. 3 mana, players can't draw cards or gain life. That's just rude. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player loses 3 life, searches their library for cards, puts it into their hand, and then shuffles. Oh, that's not good. This is a bad Limited card. By a lot. Unless you know that you have a better deck than your opponent, this is bad. Because they'll just go and find whatever they need to blow this up, kill you, or do whatever. This is bad. Mud Button Curse Tosser. I feel like that was a slur for a second there. Sure. 1 mana for a 2/1. But you have to behold something or pay 2, sure. Can't block. When it dies, destroy target creature an opponent controls with power 2 or less. Oh, your opponent's not going to want to block this. This is pretty good. Because especially with Blight, you can kill this yourself when you want to. And generally, it's just going to be a free attack because your opponent's not going to block this. Yeah, I like this card. I think this is very cool. It's like not a great removal spell, but like it does kill some things. Like a lot of the -1/-1 stuff, like Rias we were talking about earlier. It technically kills Moon Shadow when it comes down. Yeah, I think this card's good. Nameless Invasion, a 2 mana instant shapeshift. Target creature gets +3, -3, and loses all creature types until end of turn. Wow. Okay. Sure. Yep. I mean, it's kind of removal. It's still not great removal, but kind of removal. So you probably take it. Nightmare Sower is a 4 mana 2/3 flying lifelinker. Whenever you cast a spell during an opponent's turn, put a -1/-1 counter on up to 1 target creature. Fantastic card. Fantastic card. Perfect Intimidation. 4 mana, choose 1 or both. Target opponent exiles 2 cards from their hand or remove all counters from target creature. Again, This is probably good, right? Because you can either make your opponent get rid of 2 cards in hand. 4 mana for that is about what you'd usually pay. Maybe a little bit much. But then removal counters from target creature, you can do on your own -1/-1 countered creatures. Again, like Moon Shadow, just turn it immediately into a 7/7 menace. There's a whole bunch of other stuff you can do it on, right? Like this is probably okay. I don't think it's good. I think it's, again, you're only going to have like 5 or 6 instants or sorceries in a deck. I don't think this makes the cut if you've got any good removal spells, but maybe. Requiting Hex. 1 mana instant. As an additional cost, you may Blight. Destroy target creature with mana value 2 or less. Yep. If the spell's additional cost was paid, gain 2 life. I don't think you care about the gaining life, but maybe you just want to blight your own stuff anyway. Destroy target creature with mana value 2 or less is fine. It's not great. It's not great removal. Like, it's good for early removal, right? Like, if you need to get rid of something in, like, turn 1, 2, or 3, this is probably good. But that's the only time this is really going to be useful, so... you probably still take it because it's removal. If there's better removal. I think the the 4 -1/-1 counters is better than this. Even if this does just straight destroy. And obviously the creature that has this attached to it is definitely better. Because it's a creature that does this. Actually, this is instant speed. But I guess you could -1, you could maybe blight instant speed. I mean, this blights instant. I don't know. I'm not too excited about this card, but it's probably fine. Wretched Wretch. A 3 mana 4/2. When it dies, if it had a -1/-1 counter on it, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control and it loses all abilities. Sure. Reanimates itself if you kill it with Blight. I'm fine with that. It only reanimates itself once because it loses all abilities. But, I mean, it's a 4/2. You kill it with Blight, comes back, it's a 4/2 again, and then you just don't really care. Sure, I don't mind that. Like, not the best card I've seen for the -1/-1 stuff, but not bad. Scarblade Scout. A 2/2 with lifelink for 2. Sure. And when it enters, mill 2 cards. Very just general pack fellery. The lifelink is nice. Scarblade Malice. 1 mana instant type creature you control against Death Touch and lifelink until end of turn. Yep. When that creature dies this turn, put a 2/2 black and green elf creature token, or create a 2/2 black and green elf creature token. Sure. That is... Actually, this is probably better than a lot of the... We've seen a lot of these. Sometimes they have, like, the creature gains indestructible. Sometimes they have returns to the battlefield if it tapped after it dies or something. This one makes a 2/2 instead. This is kind of fine. Especially if you want to, like, have elves to do things. Like, this turns any creature into an elf, which could be good for black-green elves. I don't know. I haven't seen... We've seen a few elves, but nothing, like, crazy. Shimmer Creep. A 5 mana, 3/5 with Menace and Vivid. When it enters, each opponent loses X life and... Okay, so loses 2 and you gain 2. Sure, well, this is fine. You're going to be doing 2-color decks, so this is crap. 5 mana for a 3/5 that drains 2. Nah, I don't like this. I don't like this elemental. This is bad unless you've got a bunch of elementals, I guess. Yeah, no, I don't like this. I mean, it's a 3/5 with Menace. Maybe it's okay. I just think there's better stuff. I've seen better stuff that I'd rather play than this, I think. Taster of Wares. 3 mana, 3/2. When this creature enters, target opponent reveals X cards from their hand, where X is the number of goblins you control. Choose one of those cards. That player's exiles it. If an instant or sorcery is exiled this way, you may cast it for as long as you control this creature, and mana of any type can be spent to cast that spell. Fine. Again, this is... better in standard than it is going to be in limited, because most people in limited aren't going to have that many instant and sorcery spells. But if you hit like a removal spell off this, that's going to be good. Although your opponent gets to choose which cards they reveal. So if you're just playing this guy by himself, they just reveal one card and just don't pick the instant or sorcery. So you need a number of goblins to make this work. But if you're already doing like hard goblin commit, probably okay, probably fine to just have. It's just not very exciting because you probably don't hit. I mean, maybe you get their removal spell and then use it on their own creature, which makes them sad. Yeah, this is probably fine, actually, because generally they're going to be people are going to hold removal spells until you play something worth removing. But then they could, if it's an instant speed removal spell, they could just use it in response to kill this, and then you don't get it anyway, but then they've used the spell, so it's kind of a nothing. Yeah, this is probably fine. Twilight Diviner, a 3-mana, 3/3, when it enters Surveil 2, sure. Whenever one or more other creatures you control entered, if they entered or were cast from a graveyard, create a token that's a copy of one of them. Why are we giving reanimate stuff, things like this? Okay. So, this is probably fine in the limited format. This is probably just fine. We haven't seen anything that gets cast from the graveyard yet, have we? What reanimate? We've only seen the one thing that reanimates from the graveyard, right? Which is... fuck is it? That doesn't reanimate to your hand. This, Dose of Dawn Glow returns them from the graveyard to the battlefield, but that's kind of it, right? This guy exiles them and then plays them from exile, so that doesn't count. I mean, Bloodline Bidding would let you summon a copy as well, but if you're playing Bloodline Bidding, like, you're probably just winning anyway. Yeah. So, there's only really one way for this to, or at least so far, there's only one way for this to work in limited. But in standard, isn't this just, if I have this creature out and I reanimate some dumb giant creature from my graveyard with Zombify that costs 2, because of course it fucking does, I get 2 of them? I mean, I guess most of the time they're going to be legendary, so it doesn't really matter. I don't, actually, to be fair, yeah, the reanimate decks at the moment reanimate legendary things, so it doesn't matter, does it? But still, ugh, sure, whatever. It is. I don't. This card is fine. It's a 3-mana 3/3. And if you trigger its thing, it's great. But I don't. There's not that many ways to trigger it. So. Unbury, 2 mana. Choose 1. Return target creature card from the graveyard to your hand. Return 2 target creature cards that share a creature type from your graveyard to your hand. Sure. That's the last one, right? Yeah. Okay. I mean, this is also fine. What do I think of black, then, in this set? I like the -1/-1 counter synergy. I don't care too much for the elf stuff. I mean, was there any really cool elf stuff in? I mean, this Gloom Ripper's pretty fucking lethal. And I guess the Dissident is cool as well. Everything else was kind of... I think I liked the Goblin. Mostly I just like this Vile Boggart. This guy seems like such an enabler for just... every time you blight him, if you just reanimate him or have a bunch of him, he's just really good. I mean, Bitter Blossom is obviously just great. But I liked the Goblin stuff a lot more than I liked the Elf stuff. A lot of the Elf stuff is just kind of fine. Right, there's also... we only saw the one reanimate in the set. So unless there's ways to play stuff from the graveyard, because I don't think anything else played from the graveyard. Like, this puts it back into your hand. Grub reanimates stuff from your graveyard, but only goblins, and only to your hand. Again, like, nothing's reanimating to the battlefield. Not really. This is a goblin that reanimates the battlefield. Yeah, that's kind of it. I don't know what the I guess the elves are putting a bunch of stuff into their graveyard and then supposed to be reanimating it, but maybe the green side does all the reanimation or something. But I don't know. It feels kind of nothing. There's a bunch of surveil and ways to mill yourself and put stuff into the graveyard, and then it just stays there at the moment. Apart from that 5 mana reanimate, or the 8 mana reanimate everything, which again is sure. All right. Yeah. And it also doesn't really have that much, like, good targeted removal, right? What targeted removal did we have? This is for anything 2 or less. This, it kills things that have 3 power or less. Oh, no, they have the exile thing. Where is it? This is 4 power or less, and then they have this thing. This is a good removal card. This is a fantastic removal card, but they've only got 1. Like, 1 good removal, and then 1 fine removal. Like, this is -4/-4 for 3 mana. No board wipes yet. White is the only one that got that board wipe, and it was a racist board wipe. I guess, technically, Darkness Descends you could stack a couple of times. Yeah, not a massive amount of removal in the set. Huh. Yeah, nothing crazy. Alright.